Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Sidelines podcast with Cardinal and Cream. I'm John. I'm here with my host.
Yeah, Johnathan.
So we're Johnny Squared this week. And today we're going to talk about the Winter Olympics and all things winter sports.
For sure.
It'll be a great time. So what's been your standout thing about the Olympics so far?
I think every 4 years when it comes up, it's just always so surprising to me, just how locked in everybody is. I think it's just in a different way than I'm a huge sports fan and I get locked in for sports, but I think just the general public, I go into work, everybody's talking about the Olympics there. If they're not watching it live, then they're going to watch it on prime time at night, that kind of thing. So I think always what sticks out for me is just how much of a big thing it is, which makes sense, but it's especially for the Winter Olympics is always super fun.
Yeah, for me it's just been how talented everybody is. I watched figure skating, the guy was 13th place, but I was like, dude, that's insane. You can do all that.
For sure.
And with hockey, you can glide across the ice while managing a puck, while dodging people trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. I could never do any of it.
For
It's just
sure.
always how impressive it is to me. But yeah, I feel the Olympics is moving. Maybe it's just this Olympics, maybe it's just me. I think it's moving so fast this year.
Right.
All these storylines are coming out, and then a new storyline.
I think part of it was, for me, it was the middle of February, and I looked up, and it was oh, the Olympics are happening this week. It just kind of snuck up on me. But then because everything does move so fast, we fit it into a 2.5, 3 week window. All of the, like you said, the storylines just feel like they're one after another on top of each other in a different way than it is in just a regular sports season or something like that.
Yeah, I feel that's it's insane, and just the amount of stuff we're getting every day, because they're going from I looked at the schedule this morning. The first broadcast in America started at 4 a.m., which is probably 8 a.m. there.
Right.
So and we're getting stuff to 8, 9 o'clock, and then they'll replay all of the morning stuff. So you're getting Olympic coverage all day, and there's so many sports, and you're just gonna miss something, which is just insane.
Right.
But it's I love the Olympics.
For sure.
Yeah.
Me too. You want to kick us off with some storylines?
Yeah. So my big takeaway of this week, or not big takeaway, my favorite little storyline is the ice skating kind of controversy with the two American skaters, Chalk and Bates, who got silver after most of the judges gave them first place. So have you heard anything about this?
I saw just a graph about how they were scored versus some of the other competitors and stuff like that, but nothing super specific.
So it's kind of a big controversy. So it was in the free dance kind of sport. So it's ice skating, and you're with a partner, and you're doing free dancing. And so there's judges, and there's a system in place, is what the International Free Dance Ice Skating Committee called. There's a way in place where the scoring is unbiased by taking out, the main point was taking out the highest and the lowest score to disregard the bias.
And that's, I think, a big thing in, I could be wrong about this, but in other subjective sports like that, I think they do that for snowboarding. I think in the Summer Olympics, I think they even do that for gymnastics.
I think they do it in diving too.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but this one is really grinding people's gears because the U.S. lost by I think it was less than a point. And they French judged, the French team won, so congratulations to them. I obviously don't know if they should have won, even with the techniques and stuff they were pulling apart during the replays. Didn't really know what was happening, but I like people to win fair and square. So this is what caught me off guard. So the French team had a little bit of a hiccup from what it sounds like. Most people put them in second place with their point cards, all the judges. But there was one French judge who put them, I think it was 6 points higher than everybody else, and put the America team 3 or 4 points lower than everybody else, which is everyone's dude, that's insane, because the USA was the clear favorite to win, and it makes no sense. So anyway, people have lost their mind online. I'm sure some of y'all who are listening have seen something about it, but and then I think it's 15,000 signatures have been gathered for the International Olympic Committee to investigate it.
That's a
so
big deal.
far, nothing's come. They've come out and said that they trust their judges and they don't think it was rigged. But this guy has a history. The French judge in the European championships this past year, he did something similar to boost France over teams like Spain and Italy, I believe. But what many people aren't talking about is how Spain also did this. So that kind of gets me Spain not as 6 points, but they kind of were favoritizing your team, which makes me think maybe this isn't a big like ordeal. Maybe something that happens all the time, and someone and like, it's a new storyline someone found.
It's also interesting because, like, hypothetically, if you've got that scoring system set up to where the highest score is thrown out, the lowest score is thrown out, it's kind of like an adjusted mean. It still, even though those outlier scores that may or may not be biased are thrown out, that still impacts the scoring. Because hypothetically, if, say, you had somebody scored a 120, but the highest one was a 124. 124 gets thrown out. Maybe that 120 was initially going to get thrown out if they had a more average score. So it still does impact the scoring as well. The system isn't perfect.
It's definitely not perfect. I think anytime you're going to have a judge, and like a sport with a judge, you're not going to have a way,
Right.
like a set way, because everyone's going to judge differently, which is the opinion that the Olympics have put out. Like everyone judges differently, and we don't see that. We see a constant pattern with this judge, and we don't see this as a bias.
That's fascinating.
But it's really interesting. But as an American, I kind of makes me mad. It's like I want America to win. You know?
Right.
I'm repping the jersey.
And
I want them to win.
that's part of the fun part about the Olympics is, like, you know, the rest of our, you know, I don't know, 3 years and 49 weeks in between the Olympics, like, I like the World Cup. If I pull up ESPN and I see, like, oh, we beat Denmark in a friendly, I'm like, yeah, go America. But I don't care about figure skating, and we get so worked up about it.
Yeah, and you know, people are afraid about it in 2 weeks, but it's just something that I think you're gonna get no matter what you do with a sport with a judge. Like it could be a question writing in the Olympics next summer, like anything like that. It's just like it's with a judge, you're buying or you're getting a system that's going to be imperfect.
Right.
That's why I prefer sports that like you have a clear cut winner, like football.
Right.
Yeah.
Go score more points than
the
them.
other team. Yeah. Which
But
I guess is
you don't decide. Somebody doesn't decide the points.
The game
it's
decides
objective.
the points. Yeah,
right.
it's subjective. Yeah. Yes. So do you have any ice skating stuff? I know you mentioned something earlier.
Yeah, this is funny because I am not an ice skating person. Like, I go home and sigh whenever my parents have ice skating on the TV during the Olympics. There's so many other things that I'd rather watch, but there was another big storyline with American ice skating specifically. So Ilya Malinin, who is a 21-year-old U.S. figure skater, he dominated the short program. So for individual figure skating, they have the short program and the long program, which is just how long you skate for. Dominated the short program, wasn't even close. And was expected to also dominate the long program. It's not usually like someone's really good at the short and then not as good at the long.
Okay.
It's all figure skating. You're going to be pretty good at it all the time. But he ended up placing 8th overall a couple nights ago in his free program after he fell twice. You mentioned he's nicknamed the Quad God because he's known for being able to do a quadruple axel, which is impressive, allegedly. To my uneducated figure skating brain, I'm like, well, of course he should be able to do that. But it's
crazy.
super, super impressive. It's supposed to be one of the hardest jumps ever. And he dominated it with in the short program. He nailed it. Another funny thing I saw him do, I was watching him skate, straight up just did a backflip on the ice, like 2 feet, everything. I was just like, oh my
That's
gosh,
crazy.
dude. Yeah, like I couldn't even dream of doing a backflip
on
grass. Like
on a trampoline, I don't think I can even do a backflip.
It wouldn't happen, but to just be able to skate and just be like, I'm gonna flip now is sick to me. It's so cool.
It's so insane, like the regiments and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But so he just fell and got 8.
Yeah, so I think he fell twice in the program.
That's
lost
terrible.
a ton of points. Afterwards, you could tell that just like this kid was rattled. I mean, like he's 21. He's won every competition he's competed in.
Was it Golden Goose? Is this saying a golden child? You know?
Yeah, like
he's the guy.
Right, he's won every event that he's competed in since like November 2023 or something like that.
Wow.
Super young. He can nail this like epic trick. And like you could just tell like he was rattled. He said he felt like out of control. We talked about the pressure, which is another thing that we can get into, just like how overwhelming he felt. And yeah, it was really just, I think, helps demonstrate the fine line of like perfection that you have to be able to have in order to be one of the top athletes in the world. I think it's really easy for us to see in like sports in the Summer Olympics that we understand a little bit more, but for us to just look and say like, oh wow, like you have to be perfect, and I don't know what perfect looks like in figure skating, but you definitely like feel for him. Like this was to some degree, he'll get another chance to go figure skate.
He's 21.
Exactly.
He's 25.
But
yeah,
like
surely.
he's been like building this up in his mind since 2023 when he got on that epic win streak.
Dude, that's just sad. All right, speaking of sports that I understand, let's get into hockey a little bit.
Okay.
America's been killing
it's been wild.
It's been awesome. So, fun story. I was getting my haircut at Sports Clips, and they have the games on, and so I was like, "Oh, cool! I'll watch hockey." I got really, really into this women played like U.S. women's played the U.S. U.S. women's played the women's Canada's team. Mm-hmm. There we go. I got really into it, so I even turned it on when I got back. I was doing some homework, watching it, and it was a blowout. We won 5-0. That is the first time in the Olympics the women's hockey team from America has beat Canada.
And it's also the first shutout that Canada has ever experienced in the Olympics.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I did. It's insane.
It's wild.
So America has allowed, and women's has allowed 1 point in 5 games. They've won 6-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-1. And that 1 point coming against Czechia.
Which is just ridiculous.
Like, dude.
Especially because so many, now in America, we do have I forget the exact, but we have a new like women's professional hockey league. Mm-hmm. It's got like 8 or 10 teams or something like that.
It's brand new. It's off the feet. I'll tune in. This was fun.
This was crazy.
I didn't see any fights when I was watching it, but like I see some like they hit boards, they go at each other. Like that's fun. That's why I like hockey. It's aggressive.
It's so fun too because either these people are playing overseas or they're college kids. Like from like big programs up in the Midwest. The Big Ten has great hockey, especially.
I think like 90% of them were from Minnesota, if I remember right. Which
makes sense.
Right, like Boston College.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, totally wild, just absolutely dominating everybody. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so they're a little further in than the men's. They play Monday at 4:40 or 10:40 our time for 4:40 in Milan. But the men's not as far in. We just have one game. We beat Latvia 5-1, but we looked pretty dominant in that too.
I watched that one. It was close for a little bit, but that's the thing about sports like hockey. Like it can look close. It can be 1-1. But I think we outshot them the entire game, like 35-12. Ended up beating them 5-1 or something like that. It was
You're
crazy.
gonna bear down the goalie. Like that's what I think the women's are doing. What I noticed watching that women's game was just the amount of shots they took. And Canada got one off very quickly. It got blocked. And I don't remember them taking many more after that. Yeah, it was just pure dominance. It was awesome. And I feel like another thing I did just undisciplined play. I feel like Canada was in the power, had less power plays than us. They were always in the penalty box. That's just what I remember from the game.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see because I think the women's team was definitely a little bit more of a favorite going into the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And the men's team is also, but there are way more highly competitive men's teams from like Scandinavia, Europe, that kind of thing.
And I'm sorry, keep going.
No, I was just going to say that I think that first big win for the U.S. was a big one for them, and we'll be interested to see kind of how that shapes up the rest of the tournament.
I'm very hopeful. We're recording this on Saturday, so that we record today. We're recording. They play at 3:10 today, so they play Denmark and they'll play Germany in their last kind of game. Okay. And then we're not scheduled to play Canada. I'm assuming we're going to play Canada at some point because we'll have to play a playoff round, a quarterfinal, semifinal, and then a gold medal and bronze medal game.
It just feels like they'll run into each other at some point.
Surely, man. And I love. I remember watching last year the brothers getting a fight, and dude, it was electric. I bought this jersey. I'm very passionate about USA hockey. Yeah, big miracle on ice skating.
I will be interested to see because obviously that was at such a different time in the political climate with things that were going on between U.S. and Canada. I'll be interested to see that if things happen right, because that was just after the tariffs and stuff like that. They were booing the national anthem, so it was crazy. I'll be interested to see how. If that kind of hostility transfers over to a place like the Olympics where they're obviously not in America, they're not in Canada, or if a lot of that, because a lot of the teams are the same, if they'll go at it again, which would be sick.
Yeah. I don't know. I want them to go at it. I want a good competitive game. I don't care if there's 3 people out there because everyone else is in the penalty box. That's right. I want a little action. But yeah, dude, that's awesome. So let's go. Sport I don't completely understand, but love watching curling. Yeah. It's electric. I don't understand what is going on, how the scoring works, but it's like a sport I can just get into and like, dude, we're killing it. We're not killing it.
It's like ice bowling, but shuffleboard.
It's a weird
It's
combo.
fascinating. I was talking with a friend about it because like we're in Tennessee, like it's not a thing down here.
I don't think there's probably.
I
Is
think
there an ice rink here besides Nashville Predators?
I can't think of one off the top of my head, and I've lived here almost my entire life. But he was talking about like how do you get into curling? You know, like how do you figure out, oh, that's something that I'm good at? And I think it's like going to the bowling alley, but if you're from like Minnesota, like instead of going to the bowling alley, you go to the curling club, and that's just what happens. And so they showed a ton of great videos from like fans of the U.S. team, which we'll be talking about in a second, like just at their curling club watching the game, going crazy.
That's insane.
It was sick.
Yeah. So I talked to one of my buddies here. His sister does gymnastics at one of the small college in Minnesota. So they go up there and do like just try stuff out.
Right.
Sent me a picture of him doing curling and said it was the hardest thing he's ever done in his life.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't understand. Like I would push it right, push it left. Like I don't
It looks so. If you've never seen it, imagine just kind of like shuffleboard with 45-pound rocks of granite.
And they got the sweeper to keep the friction going so it moves fast.
It's played on ice, and before every game they sprinkle water over the ice, but not in like a sheet of water like drops, so that it freezes in like drops. That way, whenever they throw the stone, they've got these, depending on how many people are on the team for each discipline, they have like sweepers who go and like sweep the ice, which melts it just a little bit to create water instead of ice, which the stone slides on better than ice. It minimizes the friction, and so then it's just like souped up shuffleboard, and it's arguably the most hype thing I've ever seen.
And we've seen America's been doing great at this. So, every time I see a graphic scroll on social media, it's a win for us.
Yeah, so there are three different, as far as I'm aware, disciplines for curling. There's mixed doubles, which is a woman and a man, and then there's the men's team and the women's team. Those both have 4 people on it. So they kind of, because they've only got one like curling center, they schedule them out. So the mixed doubles curling was first, and that was February 4th through 10th. And the big storyline here was the U.S. team, Corey Teesey and Corey Dropkin, Corey and Corey. They won the silver medal, which was the first time that we have ever won medaled in the mixed doubles discipline for curling. They, I believe, went undefeated, or they lost one game in the prelims, the round robin, to the hosts, the Italians, and they then went through the knockout round, ended up beating Italy in the semifinals, which I have to imagine feels so good to beat the home team in their home nation, and then ended up losing to Sweden in a very close final game. I believe it was 6-5, I think was the final score there.
That's what I had written down.
But don't want to let that put a damper on the success that they had. One of my favorite parts about the Olympics is the way that like you get to know the athletes like throughout the Olympics, and these were a really fun group of people to get to know. They both have full-time jobs. They are professional curlers, but you can't.
You don't make $1 million at the NFL.
Right. You can't be a professional curler and sustain your family. So Corey Teesey, the woman, works in a lab, and Dropkin is a realtor in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And so just like learning about all of those kinds of things are just super fun. So that was the big storyline.
Now there's something different. You mentioned to me you want to talk about.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a controversy.
Yeah. So one of the rules in curling is you can't release the stone past the line. It's called the hog line, to make sure you don't get too close before you throw it. Which also we should talk about. Shuffleboard, it's like maybe like 10 yards of concrete and stuff like that. The curling end is over 100 feet long. So you don't really notice it because of the camera angles whenever they're showing it. They show it from kind of a top-down perspective so that you can see a lot of the angles and the stones bumping off of each other and stuff like that. But the lane, so to speak, is longer than a basketball court. Which
I hadn't realized that.
Yeah, which really puts into perspective just how hard it is, and for people like this to be doing, just how hard, and for the shots that they pull off and stuff like that. But anyways, one of the rules is you're not allowed to release the stone past a certain line, and you can only throw it by the handle. It has a little handle on top, so you can't actually push the rock part. So there was a big controversy in the men's discipline, which happened right after the mixed doubles, with the Canadian team and the Swedish team. So the Swedes at one point just kind of, we didn't even talk about another super cool thing about curling, is that all the players are mic'd up the entire game.
Oh, right,
to the TV broadcast.
Yeah, 'cause you can hear them.
So you can hear them, which is another really fun part about, for me, obviously, I only know English. So if I'm watching somebody who speaks English, you can hear them talk through their shots. You can hear them yelling at each other as they're sweeping and stuff like that. So you're privy to a lot of conversations that in other sports you're not really privy to, which comes in play here. So the Swedes were accusing the Canadians of also touching the rock whenever they were throwing it, not just the handle. And he was kind of the Canadian. His name's Mark Kennedy. He was kind of like, who's doing that? Like getting a little defensive and stuff like that. And the Swede was like, no, like you're doing it. He's doing it. I saw it. I'll show you video afterwards. And then in slightly more colorful language than this podcast allows, he told him to go somewhere. And it was just like, and this is all stuff that we're privy to because we can hear this on national television and stuff like that.
I love it. That's awesome.
It's just fascinating. Canada ended up winning 8-6, but obviously it's overshadowed by the cheating allegations and stuff like that. So we'll be interested to see how that devolves. One thing that is interesting also is I went back and watched the video, and while he is technically like he does touch the rock with his finger, not just the handle, but it was such an insignificant of a touch that I'm not sure how much
it was intentional.
Right. I'm not sure how much it would have impacted the actual shot being thrown. Obviously, I've never curled before, so I don't know. But to me, it just seemed kind of inconsequential. But also, we did just talk about how like everybody needs to be perfect in order to go out and achieve what you're trying to achieve. So maybe it did. I'll be interested to see how that kind of develops for sure.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so some more medal news. We had a medal fall apart.
Yeah, this is crazy.
And then there's another part of the story I'll go into after you talk about this.
Yeah, so Breezy Johnson, Olympic downhill skier, which we'll talk more about later. There was another more big news on that. She was in her post run interview.
Yeah.
And she was showing like her medal, like where the clasp was broken and stuff like that, and where the ribbon attaches to the medal and stuff like that, which is like obviously like it happens, like stuff breaks, but also like this is an Olympic gold medal that she's worked her entire life for.
She's worked so hard for this, and you need to check. Like that's something like a quick it's not working. Let me throw this to the back. We fix it because we have like 2 more weeks of this. Move the next medal up.
Yeah.
I feel like. Obviously I'm not in charge of the medals.
Right.
But it's just like, it just reflects terrible on the Olympic Committee.
That and just like, there should be no reason that these are falling apart. And then were you going to talk about the Paris thing or were you going to talk about the other thing?
You go ahead with Paris.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this also comes after the last Summer Olympics. This was a huge problem. Like medals were getting like, I forget what the term is for gold, but they were just like, they were falling apart. And they were almost like oxidizing. They were starting to turn like green and brown and stuff like not the way gold medals are supposed to look. Obviously, over 40 years, if that happens, that makes sense. That's what gold does. But it was like within days, like people were just showing like my medals falling apart and stuff like that. So they had to replace a ton of medals there. You'd think that it would, if there's one thing the IOC is in charge of, it should be getting medals to people.
Yeah, we should be good at that.
Yeah, so it just really, again, like you said, does not reflect well on the IOC at all. That they can't figure that out.
It's crazy because for me, if I worked my life so hard all my life to get to this moment and my medal breaks live on TV,
right?
I'm gonna be embarrassed for you. I'm gonna kind of be mad, like dude.
Yeah, and like they're sending out replacements and stuff like
which
that,
is the right thing.
Which is the right thing to do, but still,
it's
like you said, it's just like,
crisis,
come on,
man.
guys.
Like,
yeah.
So my goal for the Olympic Committee is the next Summer Olympics in 2 years. I want to see. I want to see the medals. I don't see any problems with medals. That's my goal for you.
Yeah.
I know they're going to see this and everything. So,
I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
LA 28.
All right, real quickly, we're going to get into medal count. Going in, these were last updated at February 14th at 10:18. So it probably will change a little bit before this podcast eventually does come out. So we have Norway and Italy tied with first place. So the home team doing good. They're doing good. We got a tie. So we have a tie for first, third, and fifth. We're gonna go through those real quick. Third, we have tie for third is Olympics. For the Olympics is United States and Japan, both doing very well. United States, I think we're gonna get a little bit higher. You know
that we still have a lot of the sports that we're good at left too. Both hockeys, men's curling. We've got a lot of those.
There's a lot of sports left. I feel like to play. But Austria and France are tied for fifth. So yeah, and just after them, Germany's not far behind. Sweden's not far behind. Switzerland's not behind. But Sweden I think they were tied for first about 3 or 4 days ago. So it's Olympic medal count, and it's not done until it's finished. But this is what we have right now. So I think the United States is gonna pull it out. What about you?
Yeah, I think this is one of the super fun parts about the Olympics too. Is there is you can't win the Olympics, you each win your individual event, but it is fun to go back and look okay, we had the most gold medals, we had the most silver medals, that kind of thing.
Gotta love it. I think the United States can get the edge just because I feel like, I don't know, I can't root against my team, my country, I'm one of those guys, but yeah, that's what I think. Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys for spending this 30 plus minutes with us today. We had a great time talking to you about the Olympics. Just shout out to Nora for all the podcasting stuff. And Cluck. This is the Sidelines with Johnny Squared, as we've been nicknamed. So I hope you enjoyed. Check us out on YouTube if you have not, if you're listening to it. And if you're watching it on YouTube, check our podcast out.
For sure.
Thank you guys. You got anything else to say before we leave?
See ya.
See ya, dude. Appreciate it.